Hello, everyone. It is time for Throwback Thursday, and this is Danielle, Crafty Girl Danielle. Today is my day, and I am going to be sharing with you an adorable stamp set called Down on the Farm that was first released in May of 2022. So this cutie pie has been around since 2022. It's long been a favorite of mine. I have a bunch of adorable farm related papers. There's some great stencils that go with this, and I just love the images so much. I have used this stamp set over and over for a variety of reasons. So I thought for my turn, I would showcase this one. In case you don't have it, it might be a wonderful one for you to add to your set. And if you do have it, then hopefully you'll watch this video and follow along and make something really fun. So first, let's talk about the stamp set. So there is, let's see, 3 main images. We have Lucas with the horse, which I absolutely adore. And then we also have Lucas with his little piglet, which I think is so stinking cute. It reminds me of my friend Karen when she and her boys raised pigs. And then we have Lexi with the adorable cow. And this type of cow, the black and white cows, are my absolute favorite. So of course I had to choose that for tonight. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different fantastic sentiments. One says, "How's it going?" One says, "You are moveless." One says, "Hey there." This one says, "What's moo?" "Howdy, neighbor." And "You're kind of a pig deal." So very versatile, very fun, lots of adorableness in this stamp set. This is the first card that I made, playing around, just kind of, I always like to make a card before I do my live just to make sure it comes together like I'd like it to. So there's some great little doodlebug papers. I've used the "You Are Moveless" sentiment and colored Lexi up with the cow. Tonight I am going to color it again, but I'm going to use some different papers, switching up the color scheme. Still doodlebug, so this is going to be the base. And this time I have this adorable paper that has little farmer and a farmette, I guess. I don't know what else to call them. The adorable cow, some other farm animals. So that will be the base. And then piece, I'm using the exact same layout, more or less, like just different papers. Why recreate the wheel, right? And then we'll color Lexi and the cow, and we'll add the sentiment. So excuse me, I'm going to get started with the coloring part of this. I'm going to move this off to the side. I'm using Copics tonight. That's generally the my preferred coloring method is Copic markers. I've already swatched kind of off on the side my colors so that I could kind of match. I try to match the colors in the paper as much as I can, and so I've already done that. I'm going to start with Lexi's skin tones, and tonight I am using the E50 series. Sorry if that's really loud. I didn't think it would be so loud. I'm going to start with the skin tones. I generally do start with skin tones because I feel like if I mess it up, at least I can, I'm not losing so much extra stuff that I've already done, and I can start over, stamp a new image and start over, because everyone says it's just paper, and that's true, but it's kind of hard when you had your mind set on getting something finished, right? So I am starting with E53. I switch out between my skin colors. Sometimes I use the E50 series, and sometimes I use the E0 series for the most part. So I'll use like E04 for the darkest shading one, and then I'll use E11, E21, and E00 or 000 for the skin tones. But when I use the E50 series, I usually start out with the 53, excuse me, which is my darkest one. And I just very lightly put in some color around the hairline. And now I'm going to come in and go over it. I'll probably do 2 coats, I guess, for lack of a better word, around that. So I'm just going to touch her ear a little bit, under her chin, around her neck, and this is the E51. So it's kind of like that next depth of color. Then I'm going to move to E50. Oh, I missed one. That's what I did wrong. So I really wanted to do E53 before I did E51. So if you're watching that, I'm sorry, but guess what? Here's your opportunity to go over it and make it a little darker. So E53. So first I started out with 55. Then I'm coming over it, and typically I wouldn't have had the E51 in there, but as you can see, it's just covering it up and it's giving it more depth, so I'm not worried about it. I'm really okay with it. And just touching up where I was before, and then I'm going to grab the E51 and do that again, but this time I'm going to just extend out a little bit further. I'm not going to completely go over my lines. I'm just going to kind of pick up where I was so it's not harsh. And just kind of fill in a little bit more. And I'm saving a little space there for my last E marker, which is the E50. And I'm going to bring that in, and I'm just going to start again from where I was. Pull it in so that the lightest part of her face is in the center. I'm just going to kind of swirl it around a little bit, make sure it blends in there nicely. And then I'm going to start on her arms. Before I do that though, I do like to give a little bit of color in the cheeks, and in this time I'm going to use the E02. And I'm going to try not to make it too circular. I just want to kind of get some color in there. And then I'm going to go over it one more time with the E50. Oops, maybe. Just to kind of smooth out the harsher circles, right, that I made. And if I feel like it's too pale in the middle, I can always bring in a little bit more of the 51. But I think it looks okay. I think I'm good with that. So, all right, arms. So back to the same pattern. I'm doing my E55. First and foremost, I'm giving it darkest right under the sleeves and the underside of her arm, and the inside of her arm, around her thumb. I'm just super carefully touching around the fingers. And she's got a little bit of leg showing down here, so we'll do that while we're down here. It's just a little, don't need to do a ton with it. Then I'm going to grab my E53, and this time I grabbed the right one. So I'm going to go back over where I was a little bit. And around her little leggies. She's got such little bits of skin showing. I don't need to do a whole lot. Then I'm going to grab my E51. And again, I'm going over it. And I'm probably going to skip the 50 because I feel like her arms might be more tan than her face. So I'm going to skip the 50. And I'm just going to fill in. Arms and legs are obviously tanner. And I'm just going to fill in those with the E51. And that is the skin tone. I am coloring on Copic Express paper. That's my favorite kind of paper to color on. So I generally use that with my Copic markers anyway. All right, let's do her hair. And I decided that she needs to have blonde hair. So I have with a little bit of highlights or low lights. I don't know what you want to say. So I grabbed a Y21. And I am going to come in and pretty much cover everything. Well, I'm going to give it like a first, I'm going to leave a little bit in the middle that I'm not coloring in quite yet. And on the side. And under here I'll come up. And under here. So this will be the first amount that I'm putting in there. And then I'm gonna take an E30, what did I grab? An 23. E23. And I'm gonna pull in a little bit of darkness at the bottoms. And at, like, you know, where the transitions of her hair might be. So around the flower for sure. Pulling that in. Coming up from the bottom. And then I'm going to turn this a little bit because I find that if I turn the paper rather than try to force my hand to go in an unnatural position, I'm more successful with my coloring. So I'm going to do that. Just like a little bit of depth, right? Not a ton, just a little. And then I'm going to go back again with my Y21. And yeah, I had to look to see if I said the right number. And I'm going to fill that in again. And this time just kind of blend it all together. There we go. Hold that up so you can see it. And there's her hair. Now I've decided this time, instead of giving her blue bib overalls, she's going to have pink overalls. So I grabbed the R85, R83, and R81 series for her bib overalls. I'm going to do them first, I think, and then I'll do her shirt in blue. So I'm going to start with the R83. And I'm going to come in and put some, I'm hoping I'm not putting my hand completely in the way when I'm coloring. I apologize if I am. Recording like this is a little bit challenging because I can't really see without standing up every so often what you're seeing. So I'm hoping, that I am doing it okay, because I can't really see comments where someone might say, your hand's in the way, your head's in the way, I can't see, you're off screen. I can stretch my neck up every once in a while and take a peek and see what's going on. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. And I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way. So that's my R83. Then I'm going to come in with R81 and pull that in a little bit more. It's just going to be a very soft pink. Just kind of encouraging it to blend a little bit. I haven't used my R80 series in, oh my heavens, I don't even know how long it's been since I last used them. It's kind of crazy, actually. Okay, then I'm going to take the R85. Oh, let's see, I was trying to decide, do I want to give her, oh, I said I was going to do her bibs pink and then I did her shirt. Oh, that was silly. Plan B, that's okay. I guess I'll just keep doing her shirt in the pink then. I guess my brain really wanted to give her a pink shirt. And I could edit it out of the video and try again, but I'm not gonna because I'm okay with it. Okay. And then she needs a pink flower in her hair, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her a pink flower, and I'm still using my R85. I can just imagine if you're watching going, oh, this lady does not know the difference between pants and a shirt. And some days that would be an accurate statement, I hate to admit, but it is the truth. So what we're going to do then is I'm going to, I guess I'll give her socks. Let's color her socks. And I'm just going to use an R83 on that. I'm just going to kind of dab in the R83. on the sides. And then I'll do it again, just give it a second wash of color, just so it's not. And then I'm going to grab the R81 and just fill in her socks with the rest of it. So we'll just finish her socks. I think, yeah, I don't know. I was going to give her Mary Jane's, but I think I'll leave her alone. Nope, I'm going to give her Mary Jane's. Okay, I think that's what those are called, right? Where they have the little peekaboo panel in the shoe, which doesn't seem like the most smart shoe to wear if you're out in the cow pasture feeding the cows. But, you know, even little cowgirls like to have their cute shoes, so we're just going to go with it. Sometimes I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. Okay, I'm trying to decide what colors, which parts of her pants to do pink. So until I decide, I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to work on the blue bibs. So let's see, what did I grab for those? I have the B26, 24, 23. I think that's it. I think that's all I grabbed. Yep. I grabbed those three for the bibs, so we'll start with, and I usually start with the darker color. So I'm going to start with B26, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some shading. I want the darker part of her jeans to be around the edges. Haven't quite decided what's happening with the straps yet, so I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. I'm going to go ahead and color that part in. See, my whole plan got messed up because I knew exactly how I was going to color it with the pink. And then, changed my mind and goofed it up accidentally. But you know, maybe it was a happy accident. And again, I'm just okay with it. Okay, that's the darkest, the B26. Then I'm going to come in with the B24. And I'm going to blend that in. I'm just using a little bit of like a feathery stroke, if you will. Like I'm not making big strokes. I'm just kind of lightly moving the marker, and I'm connecting over where I was, but not completely, because I still want some variance in there. And I find that this kind of a softer, I'm not going to call it swooshing. It's not really pouncing. It's just kind of maybe feathering. It's not really stroking, but it's just kind of feathering, right? And so now I have the 23, which is my lightest of the blues that I grabbed. And I'm going to bring in that in the spaces where it was white. And I'm going to leave this little space right here for a sec so that I can come back over these others. And I want it to read a little lighter, like right in the middle. So after I did a second coat on everything else, then I left that. So, okay, that looks pretty cute. I kind of like that. I think I'm going to do the darker pink. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Why not? Let's just be adventurous. She's going to have darker pink suspenders to go with her shirt. So this is the R85. Yeah, I like that, I think. Okay, and then let's give her some pink stripes on her bottoms of her jeans too. So we'll do that. I'm just kind of giving it a double go, I guess, if you will, on there. I want to make it a little bit darker. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and do the 20, we'll do the medium of the blues. So that was the 24. Better make sure I'm still recording. Looks like it. Okay, great. We'll do the B24 and we'll just fill in the other part of it. And actually, I don't know that I like the lighter blue. So I'm going to grab, after I did that, I'm going to grab the darker, which is the 26. And inevitably, I'm going to put that darn cap on upside down every time when I want you guys to be able to see it. It's just my brain just is going to have to just keep messing with it, I guess. Yeah, I like the darker blue better. I didn't really like the lighter. It seemed kind of, I don't know, I didn't like it. Let's just leave it at that. And then I'm just going to kind of bring in again this darkest blue where we had some interest, and I think I'm good with that. So let's move these out of the way. I'll hold her up so you can see her. Isn't she sweet? She's so cute. Let's see, we need to put a yellow center in her flower. Ah, there we go. And I think I'm gonna give her one more, her flower, just a little bit more definition because it is a pretty soft pink. So not much, just fussing with it really. Okay. All right, let's color the pail. And I grabbed some N markers for those. Let's see here. I have, oops, that's not what I want. I have an N1, an N4, and somewhere in here, an N3. Maybe not. Okay, well, we're gonna make what I have work. So I have an N4. I'm gonna start with that. And I'm gonna just come in where it's the darkest. My C markers are all dry, so I really prefer to color, well, they're not dry. I mean, some need ink and some are just like dry and I can't replace them. But I like the C markers for metal. N is kind of flat, but it works. Like, I'm okay. Okay, so I'm just kind of, this time I'm like doing a little bit longer, like almost feathering touches in there. And I'm focusing mostly on the inside. And then I'm going to grab the N1, which might be a little too light. We'll see. It probably needs to be like an N2, which I could not find in my bag. Oh gosh, and that is drier than dry. Okay, let's see what else I can find. Okay. Here's an N1. Here's, oh, I just had that. What in the heck? Oh. What the heck? Here we go. N3. Let's try that. So this is going to be not as much of a contrast, but a little bit. And that's okay. Look at that works, right? We'll just kind of keep massaging it in there. And what we'll do is we'll just bring it over a bit more. I'm just going to focus on doing a little bit more there. And leaving a little bit of white at the outside so I can bring it in last. And I'm going to grab my N4 again and feather back in a little bit of that contrast from the 4 into the 3 so you have a more seamless blend. And then I'll go ahead and, what is that? That's a 4. And then I'll go ahead and just kind of pull in the last of the 3 here. There we go. Let you see what that looks like. Can't tell where I'm at. I hope you can see it. Maybe it's too close. Maybe it's far away. I don't know. Can't tell. Where am I at here? Okay. So now let's put some water in the pail. And I think I chose a B12 just because that's the B I grabbed. So actually, well, it is water. I was going to say maybe it's feed and I should color it brown, but it kind of looks like water to me. Maybe she's just bringing the cow some water. So we're going to stick with the water idea, but it could also be oats. You could put lighter, brown color in there for oats because they do love oats, I think, right? I don't know. I'm not a cow farmer. All right. So shoes. We just have little shoes left to do. Let's see what I have. Candy for a brown. I could do, we'll try this. It's an E25. We're going to go ahead and give her some brown shoes. And they're not very big, so I don't feel the need to worry a bunch about the shading. I'll just use the same marker to go over a spot so that I get it, which is a trick if you don't have a coordinating next shade. And then I'm going to grab a darker, I think I'll just do like an N5 for her soles. So I'll color in her soles. There we go. Oh, she's so cute. I just love her to pieces. She's adorable. Okay, now we're going to color the cow. So for him, I think it's a her because she has eyelashes. So I think this is a girl cow and I think she is precious. I'm going to do her feet first. I've got an N7 for her feet. So I'm going to come in here. And I'm just going to fill in there's the other one. There we go. I want them to be mostly dark, but not just black blobs on the bottom of her legs. So I'm gonna add in some N5 to the N7. Fill that in. And sometimes the ends don't blend as nicely initially as you'd like them to. So I'm just gonna, encourage it a little bit. See if I can get it to, and then I may have to do one more little bit of black, or I might use a gel pen, not a gel pen, a micro liner to get the darkest color in there so that I don't end up with just more of a black blob. But we're going to let that sit while it thinks about what it wants to do. And I'm going to find my N9 marker for the cow's spots. So she's going to have some black ears up here. I'm going to do those. And I like her patch of spiky hair. So we're going to give her some spiky hair. And her other ear needs a little bit of color. So I'm just coloring in her beauty marks. That's what I call them. Her adorable little beauty marks. She's got a nice big one under her chin. I just love, 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 love the sweet expression on her face. She is so cute. Cows have like the prettiest eyes, those great big eyes, long eyelashes. Okay, we're just kind of coming in there with that. Okay, I think I got all those. Did I miss any? I don't think so. Oh, I do want to, like, even though the ink colored the tail, I did want the tail to be just a little darker on the end. So I added that. I'm going to try to take my N7 one more time and add back in a little bit of the definition on the hooves. And thankfully, I think I let it set just long enough that it's going to work. So I think we're good. There's that. Now, on my other one, I did an N1 around the white part of the cow, but my N1 marker is dead. So let's see if I do have a C marker that I can use, or a T marker. I love my T markers. Let's see if I have a T marker. I have a C marker. Let's hope this one works. So I don't want to add a lot of color. I just, you don't want to just stark white. So I'm just going to come in, and this is actually working just fine. So I'm just tracing around the parts on the face and the spots so that it doesn't look like I just left something completely uncolored. So, and I do love uncolored images, but they have to all be uncolored, right? Like unless you're spotlighting something, but that would not be what I was doing here. Not at all, actually. But I like spotlighting and leaving most of it uncolored, or I like just uncolored and having everything else be the pop of color. It sets a whole different tone for what you're trying to do. But in this case, oh, I did miss a spot. In this case, I am just adding some definition and a little bit of shading so that it still reads like this little precious cow is white, but it doesn't, again, just doesn't look like I forgot to do something with it. So. And sometimes if I get a little heavy-handed with my shading, I'll come in with a colorless blender and smooth it out, spread it out a little bit. You guys probably know that trick. All right, there's the spot I missed. I felt like I was missing one. There we go. Oh, so cute. Okay, so let me hold this up for you. Oops. There we go. Super cute. Let's see. We need to do her little face and her ears. And where is my marker for that? I have an E11 and an E02, if I can find it. There it is for that. So we'll start with the E02. Color the insides of her ears. And her little sweet snout. And her little udders. Udder, I guess. It's one with, there we go. And then I'm going to grab my E11 and I'm just going to pull in a little bit of shading. And I may decide to go over it again with the E02. We'll see. We'll see what I end up doing here. I may not. And I'm going to color the inside of her nostrils with the darker, with the E11. Okay, and I do think I want to smooth out that just a little bit because it's pretty dark. So I'm going to do that, and I think I'm okay there. So her eyes, I'm going to color in with a black marker, make them a little darker and highlight the eyelashes, but I didn't grab that, so I'm not going to do that right now. Probably would also touch up Lexi's eyes a little bit with my micro liner. So the last thing I'm going to do is add some grass, and let's see, what do I have for grass colors over here? I must have something. Looks like I have what kind of green is going to go with this? There's really no green in my paper, so it doesn't really matter. I think I'll just grab a YG45. Any green will work. And I'm going to add in some color. I'm going to put some grass in there. And if I let it set for a minute or two, then I can add some even darker in there again, so that there's like some semblance of a shading, I mean. Super cute, super cute, super cute. Okay, so that's the coloring part. So I had decided I wanted to round the corners. So I just, stamped and cut really close to the image on both sides, trimmed it down really close on both sides. And then this is my old as dirt corner punch. Excuse me, I've had this thing for, I don't even know how long. I'm just so thankful it still works. I said that, now I can't get it to work. But I've had this thing, it's mad at me. I've had this thing for so long. I bet some of you might have something that looks similar to that. Like, I'm just someone who doesn't really replace tools much or things. If they work, I keep them till they don't. And then I have a black mat that I'm going to do the same thing with. There we go. I'm sitting at an awkward angle for pressing this thing. Come on, you. There we go. Got it. Okay, let's get that out of the way. So let's make sure we've got her lined up okay. So we just have a little bit of a black mat on there. I had already pre-stamped and cut in a circle the sentiment, so I've got that ready. So we can add a few, we can, adhere a couple of things and get it together. So let's see, I like to use liquid glue because when I'm putting things down, I have a little bit of extra wiggle room. But I have to be careful with this because I tend to squeeze it really hard and then sometimes it might come through my paper, so I think I did okay. I like to use quite a lot of glue because I think that it would be so sad for someone to get one of my cards and have it fall apart in their hands. I've had that happen to me and I just feel so bad. I put them back together for people so I can keep them for a while. So there's that piece. Let's just go ahead and, something fun you could do too that I didn't do now, but I've been kind of into distressing lately. So you could, make it look a little more vintage, even though it's cutesy paper, by just distressing the edges with either inks or, with your scissors or a distressing tool. But I've been kind of into that lately, using that. So this I cut to the same length as, so I'm just gonna kind of wiggle it around a little bit till I get it kind of even in terms of borders. So this piece of paper here, I cut my fingernails and I can't pick anything out. This is the same size as a card front. So this is an A2 size. It's 5.5 tall by 4.25 wide of the Doodlebug paper. So there's that pattern. And then this piece is 3.75 across by 5 inches tall. And then I cut a piece of black, just slightly bigger than that so that I could mat it. So that's that piece. And then this piece is like 1 point, oh, let's see, this is 2 inches. The black is 2 inches and this is just shy of that so that I again have a matting, but I cut it at 3.75 so that when I lay it on this piece, I can just use the black border on that as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put everything together. And I just don't think that this, there could have been a more perfect paper pack really for this adorable set. I wanted to use the Crazy Cow stencil that Kraftin Kimmie has because I thought that would be really cute too. In fact, I had it and I was going to put it on the inside of the card and then I set it down somewhere and I don't know where I put it. But that's another thing you can do is use a stencil or one of the other stamped images to finish the inside of your card. And that's what I had planned to do with the second sentiment, but you know, sometimes you just forget. All right, I'm gonna try to get this on there as evenly as possible. And graph paper is so helpful for that. And you know, it may not be exact as I'm sitting down, but I think it's pretty darn okay. I think I didn't do too bad. So there's that. Let's get that on. Sorry for my arm in the way. Let's get this on just a white card base before we do anything else. Just a swooshing the glue around. Oh, almost did it on upside down. Make sure you got the right opening. Make sure you go in the right direction. And then just kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle it onto your card base. Whoopsie. There we go. Did I get it? I think I almost got it. I got to wiggle a little bit more, it looks like. There we go. Okay, I got it. So again, this is an A2 size card. So it's 5.5 tall by 4.25 wide. And let's see, I think I want this about there. Let's see, where do I want it? Maybe just a tad higher. So we'll put it right under the cow and the little boy's face, the farmer boy face. So let's see here. We'll go right there. Okay. So we got that, and then we're going to go ahead and put this on. I am going to add a little bit of foam tape. I think I actually grabbed the stuff that's a little thicker than I wanted, but it'll work. I like to add a little bit of dimension, especially when you have so much layering, because otherwise it just sits kind of wonky. So I'm just cutting a couple strips, and oops, I was so close to the right size. Let's see here. I'll do this one first, and I'm just gonna do the, whoops, I can't get it open. I am going to, if I can get it, there we go. I'm gonna do the tops. Oh, I better make sure I'm doing the top. There we go. I'm gonna do the top and bottom, because the middle is supported, right? So, and I gotta cut a little bit off that guy too. And then I am gonna put some glue in the middle because I do want it to stick down. And pull the tape up, maybe, maybe not. This is not my favorite one because the papers don't want to come off. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is like watching paint dry when someone's trying to peel the, there we go, peel the backs off of tape. Ah, I'm so sorry. Here we go. Okay. I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue on here so that it doesn't so I don't drop it and have it get stuck in a very weird spot. So making sure I'm on the up and up, and I want to put it right about there, I think. Yeah, that's good. I'm good with that. All right, then you are moveless is going to go up here in the corner, so I'm going to put a little bit of foam tape behind that as well. And I was going to use these little pieces, but I have a feeling they'll frustrate me because they're hard to get out. So let's see, I'll just kind of grab that. And where else do I need it? Is that going to be enough? That should work, actually. Look at that. I got lucky on the first try. So just a little corner. A little bit of glue. Put some on there too. And you are moveless is just about complete. There we go. And like I said, so the last thing that I would probably do is grab my micro liner and add a little bit of darkness to the eyes and enhance the eyelashes. But this is my finished card for tonight's Throwback Thursday. And I actually have two, right? So I'll just put them side by side so that you can see them. They're two different papers, two different coloring. Still so very precious and cute. And the stamp set, once again, and it is on sale in the shop right now. It is called Down on the Farm, and you should snap it up while you can get it at Kraftin Kimmie. It is an absolutely precious set to have. So thank you very much for watching with me tonight. I hope you get your craft on, and we'll share if you did something with this adorable set. And if you ever have questions, comments, suggestions, please just message in the group, and I will be so very happy to message you back. So thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.